Sawadee Karp. Oh, sorry. Sawadee my Karp. No one gets it. Good morning, everyone. How are you all going? We are going to share with you some awesome things happening in Thailand. So if you don't know, if you've missed what's happened, 4 weeks ago, our family, Josiah, we went over to Thailand as part of a South Australian missions team to Thailand. And we just went over there to serve and just to be a part of everything that happened. It was an absolutely incredible time. In fact, it was so good that our family personally stayed on for an extra week and just did some more stuff over there. It was really cool. But we just wanted to share with you guys just some of what we brought back, some of what we experienced over there, some of the incredible things that happened to us while we were there. We're just really going to, hopefully inspire something in each of you. This morning's just a bit relaxed and a bit chill. I wore my Thailand pants for that reason. It's very cool. Loved it. But the kids are going to share a bit first. They're just going to quickly share one or two things. So Grace, you're going to share first. Yeah, awesome. Grace is going to share. Grace has got a Thailand dress on. It looks really pretty. And Grace, what was the randomest thing that happened in Thailand?
The breakfast.
The breakfasts, yes. Yeah, when Peter said about fried eggs, I think we all had a little bit of a flashback because every meal, I think, had a fried egg on it. But the breakfasts, what was your favourite bit of breakfast?
Fish and chips.
Yeah. Yes, that was the breakfast that we got served, things like that. So, Grace, what are you going to share with us?
About the village.
About the village, cool. So, firstly, we'd like to welcome everyone online too. Thanks for joining us, it's really good. So, we went to a village as part of our trip. We went up and saw one of the villages that they planted a church in Thailand. It was 3.5 hours away from Chiang Mai, the place where we were actually based. So, we took this big long trip and you saw a heap of photos of that. That's where we were playing the game and stuff. That's all the fields and everything as well. Not that one, not yet. No, not that one. So Grace, why don't you share with us about the village?
We went up to the village and we went for a walk and the kids wanted to play...
That thing?
Yeah, with this thing. Well, not this exact thing. I don't even...
It's called Sepak Takraw. That's the game.
Yeah. It's like...
It's like soccer cross volleyball?
Yeah. But you can't use your hands. You have to use your feet and your head. Usually it is made of bamboo, but this one's made of plastic, and this one hurts more.
Yeah, we found this one on our last day, so we brought it home as a souvenir. But the village was really cool, wasn't it? Because as soon as we got there, the kids came out to meet us because 3.5 hours away, they don't just travel 3.5 hours on a daily basis. They hadn't seen Westerners or white people in a long, long time. And so it was really cool to be able to do that. But the kids just absolutely loved us, didn't they?
Yeah, they came out of this school and started waving us on the way to get into the village.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they greeted us at the gate. They were really excited to show us around. They followed us everywhere as we did a tour around the village and everything. What else?
They invited us to their school to show us around, but I don't think they actually wanted to show us around. They more wanted to play...
Volleyball?
Yeah, volleyball.
Yeah, they did. Because we smashed them at this thing, because Australians are so good, and they were 8, but that's beside the point.
Shh, don't tell them. Yeah, we
but
can't say that.
The cool thing about that was, because we were basically treated like rock stars in this village. It was really awesome. But because we hung out with these kids and just spent time playing with them, then what happened that night? We had a church service, didn't we?
Yeah, and all the girl kids wanted to hang out with Islami.
Yeah, so all the kids that we were hanging out with at the school, they came to the church service. Not only did they come to the church service, but they were the first ones in, and they sat right down the front. You might have seen that in the room where everyone was sitting on the carpet and everything. All the kids were right at the front. That was really cool. Just because we hung out with them for a little bit, they just came and they were, so eager to hear from us. So.
Yeah, and they were surrounding us.
They were surrounding the girls. They had never seen little blonde girls before. It was very cool, wasn't it? And they were teaching you...
They were teaching her Thai. I ran off. I am literally saying this. She got taught some Thai. I did not.
It wasn't actually Thai, by the way. It was Curran, because the tribe that we went to, they were the Curran people. And there's a really cool story behind the Curran people. We don't have time to tell that this morning, so ask us about that later. Anything else you want to share? Nope, that's it? You challenge everyone to a game afterwards? No. Okay, cool.
It hurts too much.
It does hurt a fair bit, yeah. Made of bamboo, it's quite solid.
That's not made of bamboo.
No, this is plastic.
Yeah, that's
Good.
plastic.
Okay, Isabel. You want to...
Oliver.
Oliver? Oliver's going to share. All right, Oliver. How did you find Thailand?
Hot.
Was it good, though?
Yeah.
Talk to the people out here.
I thought I was talking to you.
So we were there for 3 weeks, our family, because we stayed the extra time, and it was very, very full on the whole time. So we did a few days where we just had a rest and did a bit of touristy stuff and just saw the country as well, because you're over there, so why not? What was your favourite part about our touristy stuff?
The elephants and coffee fish.
Yeah, I like coffee fish too. You and I probably like coffee fish for separate reasons. I like the coffee part. What part did you like?
The fish part.
I wonder why. Why do you reckon you like the fish part? Now, I don't know if you can see, but that's about up to here on Oliver. That's a fairly large fish. We went to a shop called Coffee Fish. It's kind of like a coffee shop where you fish, so that's pretty much it. But that was cool.
I caught that.
Yes, you did. Not that one. We ate once like it, but not quite. So, Oliver, some other stuff that we did while we were there. So, when we first went there, we were with a group called The River, and they have a lot of stuff going on in the community. They really reach out to their community. And one of the things that they did, they took advantage of us being there, and we went and visited a couple of schools. Now, they're not like schools over here. We don't have the Christian schools or anything like that. They're all government-run schools. And the only way you can get into the schools is if you have an influential member of the community or a leader of the community. They're kind of like, political people. They're kind of like the mayors and stuff there, but they don't really have that. But they have someone who's influential in the community who goes to the school and says, I think you should have these people in. The incredible thing about them getting Westerners over there is that we speak really good English, apparently. And so they can use that to get into the schools. And we go in there and go in there to help teach the kids English. And so we run an English program as part of it. But we also do some songs in the school. And you saw on there we were teach them song. What song was it? What song did we teach them?
A song in Thai.
No, did we teach them?
This Little Light Man, that's right.
This Little Light of Mine, yeah. So we were able to teach them that, but we're also able to just share little bits and pieces. You can't go and run a full Christian program, but they actually sung a couple of Christian songs, and they can sing them in English because a lot of people don't speak English, so they don't know that we're singing about Jesus. It was cool. But we could really encourage and share with the kids too. What was something cool about the kids' programs in the school, Oliver? What did you really like about that? The games that we were able to play with them, were they good?
They were all right.
Yeah. So what was the best? No, what was the craziest game that we played with them?
Look, from what I heard from these two, Chinese Whispers was the craziest. But from my experience, Rock, Paper, Scissors was the craziest.
Rock, paper, scissors was crazy. Why was rock, paper, scissors crazy in a different language?
Because they were just like... And we're just there going like, when do they stop?
So in Australia, we do rock, paper, scissors, shoot. In Thai, they have two different versions depending on which part you're from. They either rock up to each other and they just go. Or they do some saying in Thai, which we couldn't follow, that's
Great impression.
We had no idea when we were supposed to shoot. What else was good in that school program? What about... Okay, so from that school program, what they actually do is while we're in there teaching English, the team from Thailand, they actually get alongside the teachers and they start to talk to them about Jesus and they start to share with them a little bit. But another thing that they do is they invite all of the kids to their kids program afterwards. How many kids? Can you remember how many kids came from the school the next week? 12. Can you remember?
12.
That's really good. Well done. So we went to 2 different schools, and out of those 2 different schools, they had 12 kids come to their children's program the next week and just hear about Jesus that had never come before, so they're hearing about Jesus. So it was really cool. One final question for you, Oliver. Would you go back again?
If I wasn't concussed by an elephant.
Yes. That's a yes, he would go back again. I don't know if you saw on the video, Oliver actually got hit by the elephant trunk when he was water fighting with it. So that was...
I got hit, then it sprayed me.
Hit and snotted by an elephant. It was good. Thank you, Oliver. Isabel. So, did you enjoy Thailand, Isabel?
Sure.
Sure. Very definitive. So when we got there, it was just all hands on deck. So originally we were supposed to get there on Saturday, weren't we? And what ended up happening?
We got there Friday.
Yes, so they actually said to us, can you come a day earlier so that you can run youth? So we landed Friday, we had a quick lunch, we unpacked our bags, then we started running youth for them. The next morning was Saturday and they had a kids program. And we were straight into it. And so they actually have a kids program separate to church. They run a kids program from, it's supposed to be from 9 until 12, but it runs on Thai time. So it's sort of like from whenever the kids rock up in the morning until whenever they leave, which was sort of 8 until who knows when. But it was really cool. But you girls and Oliver got to be a part of that kids program, didn't you? And run some games and everything. What games did you run?
We had to run into the centre and grab a cone and then run back.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they got the adults to join in too. That's why Isabel's laughing, because there's a good photo of me doing a super dive to win the game. I won, by the way.
Doing the splits.
It was good. But yeah, we did that. And then Oliver, Grace and Isabel got to preach at Kids Church. And it was really cool, but it was it difficult? No, it was easy. All right, okay. So the kids don't speak any English at all, and the kids got to preach, but they had to preach with a translator, which they literally rocked up Friday afternoon, and then Saturday morning they're preaching with a translator. And so you have to say a line, and then the translator has to translate for you, and then you say another line. The girls were talking about trusting in Jesus. They did a trust fall in front of the kids. That was really impressive. The kids all loved it more than you did, so we'll go back. But yeah, it was good, wasn't it? Did you find it hard to speak with a translator?
Not really.
Not really. You're a pro. The rest of us did. But anyway, that's good. Okay, so what else happened in the kids program? What did we do afterwards?
We did an English lesson.
Yep. So as part of it, we helped them to learn English. So part of their Sunday school, they actually teach the kids English to try and help them enrich their lives and stuff as well. And what did we teach them?
How to write time
Yes,
in English.
Isabel was actually teaching kids about her own age how to write out time and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
We played Mr. Wolf.
What's the time? Mr. Fox actually over there. So yeah.
Mr. Fox, what time is it?
That's correct. And we had to do it in English. So it was very interesting because they didn't know English. So they were doing it in their Thai English. And it was strange to know how many steps to take. Cool. Is that everything you want to share? All right. Thank you very much, kids. We'll hand over to Josiah.
Yeah, awesome. It was so awesome to be with the kids because they just got such memories now they'll cherish forever. Really great. Thailand, I cannot express the blessing it was on my life and how much it really changed my life. Before Thailand, I thought, it's going to be good, but I didn't think it'd be that good. And I was talking to my grandpa the other day, actually, and he's been on a mission trip before. And he said to me, it'll change your life. And I said, yeah, okay, Grandpa. I knew it would, but I didn't think it would change my life that much. I went through and looked on the first day. I texted him after the youth group. And the first message is, I don't want to come back. It truly was the best experience from the first day I landed Thailand. So I'll speak about the first 3 days, which were probably my favourite that I cherished the most. So throughout the trip, we were staying at a place called the River Asia. It's an amazing place, and what they're doing in Hang Dong, Thailand, is just truly Truly amazing. It's a massive property that includes a hotel where many people stay that work at the church or missionaries like us. It has a church, it has a cafe, it has a pool, it has 3 meeting rooms or more, I think, actually, and about 5 houses where people can stay at. And then it has another massive building where they have lunch with everyone after church services. So it's really church in one. It's amazing. So when we first got there in Thailand, we obviously did the youth group, and it was just awesome. Meeting all the youth, and it was funny, the youth actually, because our youth group is about 13 to 18 years of age. Their youth group is about 12 to 30. There was 30-year-olds at the youth group, not to lead, but to join in. And it was just exceptional. I went up to one guy, and everyone in Thai looks young. So I thought he was maybe 19. I got up to him and I said, "How old are you?" He goes, "Oh, 30. I'm like, "Oh, you're a leader?" "No." "Oh, okay, nice to meet you." So during that youth, we hosted many games. A couple of them cheated, but I didn't say anything. We had messages, and one thing about Thailand is they love dancing. So every kids' service and every youth group, they're dancing. Chris, you're an amazing dancer. And yeah, that was the youth group, and it just went so fast, everything went like that. But after, I was lucky enough to be able to go in the car to drop all the youth group home. Because something about the river is they will do anything to get the kids and the youth to the services. Over 5 hours of driving in 2 days to get about 40 to 50 kids to the river. So I got to go in the car, and Christy was not happy about that, but Chris said I could. So I got to drop all the kids home.
We were tracking him by his phone.
They were tracking me. I did not know about that. No, I did. Yeah, Chrissy was my adopted mum for the trip. Yeah, so I got to drop all the kids home, and it's just turns and left and right and one road, and one car's reversing, one car's going forward. And it's just the time I loved that time because I got to fellowship and really get to meet the youth as they spoke to me in the cars and just learn about them. And they were all just so welcoming and lovely, and they just welcomed you, and they didn't care who you were, they loved you. And then the kids' church the next day, very, very exciting. And as Chris said, we got told about 9 o'clock to 9:30 will start. We had kids rocking up at 7:30. We were having breakfast, we saw kids running outside at 7:30. And there's a photo I'd like to share of the kids club, and it's just, if we can get it up, it'll come. But it's all their shoes lined up outside. There you go. And it's just a beautiful photo. I really love that photo. All their shoes lined up outside, and all the kids were inside just joining in. So yeah, during that kids club, we had the twins speak and Oliver speak as well. And we had heaps of games, and all the kids were full of joy. And as soon as we walked in, they're all coming up, hugging us and grabbing onto our legs. And just when we would sit down, they'd all sit around us. There's photos, I don't think they're on there though, but about 3 kids just sitting around me, 3 kids sitting around Chris, and they love people, and they love Westerners. And then after, we had more dancing in that there, another photo there. We had more dancing in that service as well, but after I really enjoyed the English teaching. We had English teaching as well for all the kids, so different age groups, we got separated in to do English teaching. I noticed myself actually having to remember a few words, because I never taught English, so had to actually know what I was doing. But that was very fun as well. And then the next day on the Sunday, we had the church service. I really, really love the church service, because a thing in Thailand is you don't express your emotions. If you're sad, you don't tell anyone. If you're angry, you don't tell anyone. It's always you're happy. So everyone goes around Sawadee Cup, always bowing their heads and smiling at you. You don't really know what's going on in someone's heart. But at that church service, after we had someone speak, we had an altar call come up. And the first lady I saw, she was crying. She was expressing her true emotion, and she was crying at the altar. Because that church in Thailand lets you express your emotion, because it tells you that Jesus doesn't want to fake you. Jesus wants the real you. And that lady crying was just a symbol of what the church represents in Thailand. That although there's Thai culture to follow, express your emotion. And that's something that really touched my heart at the church service. But something that I really took away being in there, we were really lucky because we're with Pastor Eric, and Pastor Eric runs both the River Asia campus sort of thing at Chiang Mai, and he runs it in Bangkok as well. So he's flying in between the two multiple times a month. He's an amazing man, and what he's doing is truly, truly powerful. So we got actually a couple sessions where he would just teach us what they're doing and how they're making disciples and Christians in Thailand. And Thailand being a country of 70 million people, but less than 2% are Christian, and less than that are Pentecostal, and less than that are truly followers of Jesus, it's quite hard to make Christians because all of them are practically Buddhist. So you can't just go out and say, do you want to talk about Jesus? Do you want to talk about Christianity? Because they really won't be interested. So to build Christians and build disciples, they have to make relationship and make connection with the people. Pastor Eric told us a story which I truly cherished, and I think everyone cherished in our team, that how he went to this cafe continuously and often, and at the same time he went to this cafe more, and he would just keep going there. I don't know how many times, but he would keep going there. And I assume he had friends there. They'd talk about church and what they were doing with his friends, like a little meeting place. And one day, the owner of the cafe came up to him, sat next to him and said, "So tell me, why do you follow Jesus?" Just like that. And all he was doing was going to this cafe continuously and often and just sort of slowly making connection. Because that's how they make disciples in Thailand. They don't make it by shoving the gospel in people's faces. They make it by shining the light of Jesus through themselves. So people can see in them what's different about them. Why do they do that? Because when those questions come, when that curiosity comes, it's when faith comes. When they come to them and say, "Why do you follow Jesus?" or "Why are you like that?" It's because who I follow. And that's the main way they make connections. And Pastor Enoch, who owns a church in the city, he does the same thing. Going to cafes and going to places and speaking the language with them and making that connection. Because when you make that connection, when they let you in to their community, you've got the disciples, you've got the Christians. Because it is so, so hard to make Christians. And it's still hard in Australia, but over there, with a language barrier, with missionaries and people like us, there's a language barrier, and there's Buddhists, and they're hard to get through. But once you shine the light of Jesus and put your eyes on God and not worry about your ego, and you say, "God, let me make relationship with these people," and you make that connection, Christians come like that. We went to a cafe, a noodle place, the first day we went there. And I just noticed, so we landed, we already had food on the plane, but in Thailand, you're never full, you're always eating. So we went to the noodle place, and Pastor Eric, I just noticed, going over to the ladies, just speaking to them. He just let us sit down, and he went over to them, he just started speaking to them. I didn't know what he was saying, I knew a little bit, not really, but he was just speaking to them and making connection. But just those little bits of just saying, "Hello, how are you?" and just showing that you really care about them. And another thing he said was, after he makes those connections, is able to make that breakthrough of relationship with the people, he doesn't leave them. He doesn't just say, "Oh yeah, they're all good." He keeps that connection going, and he keeps that relationship going. So he told us, after he made that connection with the man at the cafe, he still goes there. He still sees that man, because that man still needs help, and he still needs a friend. Just because he's made that breakthrough of relationship doesn't mean he just leaves him now. Because we actually learned, I'm going to be sidetracked, but we went to a village and they've got these sort of tanks there. And we're talking about how some missionaries will go over there and start something but not continue it. So there's just tanks there, but they don't know how to clean them. They don't know how to fix them. They don't know how to work them. So they're really pointless to them now. But what Pastor Eric does is he will go and build toilets with them in their villages. But when he builds toilets, he's teaching them how to build toilets. He's teaching them how to clean them. So when those missionaries leave, those Thai people will go around and say, "Look what we made. Look what they taught us." Because it wasn't just what they did for us and left us. They taught us how to clean the toilets. They taught us how to make them. They taught us how to repair them. It's building those connections, because when you help them do these things with them, it's including them as well. It's not just saying, "Oh yeah, I'm better than you, I'm going to give you this." It's connecting with them. And it's so amazing how they do that, because those toilets are still working. And then those people can say, "Look what these missionaries did for us. Look what those people did for us." But what's different about those people is they shine the light of Jesus, because they continue that relationship with these people. And it is such an amazing thing. But yeah, Thailand truly changed my life. And Christy did drag me out by my feet to the airport to go. It wasn't that bad. But I didn't want to leave. It was such an amazing experience. And I tell every single one of you, if you want to travel, go on a mission trip. If you want to go overseas, go on a mission trip. because you get to see the country, but you get to see the true country. You get to see the sad parts of the country, the parts that need Jesus. I spoke to a lady at the village when we were up there, and she was very excited to speak to me because she actually taught herself English. She was teaching herself English. And she spoke to me, and I felt quite sad after speaking to her because in the villages, they're working about 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. But that's all they see for their life. They don't see anything further. They might see church on a Sunday, but all they see for their life is work. The lady said to me, she gets up, she goes to work. She comes back home, she has dinner, she goes to bed, she wakes up, she goes to work. And I think that is just sad. That's all she sees for her life. She comes to church and it's great, but she doesn't know the plans that God really has for her. God has bigger plans than that. But all she sees for her life is work. She's not married, she's single, she just lives in a house by herself, and all she sees is work. And it just made me feel so grateful for where we live, to be able to do enjoyable things. We might work a lot, but we have so many things to enjoy in Australia. But some people over there, like when we were driving into the village, we saw a probably 70-year-old lady carrying about 20 kilos of things on her back, climbing up a rice hill. She does that all day, every day. That's all she sees for her life. That's why that church and connection and relationship is so important in Thailand, because it shows people that there is more for you than work. There is more for you than just following your culture and Buddhism. God has a plan for every single one of the people in Thailand. And that's what the River, that's what Victory Church, that's what the churches and missionaries are doing in Thailand. So I tell you guys, if you want to go on a trip, go overseas and go to Thailand, but travel and do a missions trip because it will change your life for the better. And if it doesn't change your life, you didn't go on a missions trip. Because it will change your life. It changed my life. It changed these guys' life. And we will cherish these memories forever. And I just want to say, we thank every one of you for supporting us, your prayers, for supporting us with the money that we were able to bless people with our frog. We blessed people with a frog farm in a village. We blessed our pastors. I'll let Chrissy talk about what we blessed them with. But we were able to bless them and with prayers and the money over there, because it's a lot more money over there than what it is here. But thank you to everyone who supported us, and I'll let Chrissy come up. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, this is weird. I don't have an interpreter next to me. At the village when I spoke, there was actually two interpreters. So I had an interpreter interpreting to Northern Thai, and then an interpreter interpreting to Curran. So it went from me to someone else. So it was different, but no, it was awesome. To be honest, to be able to explain everything to you is actually really hard, because the whole trip was such a life-changing experience. Seeing the way the missionaries have, especially Eric, the way he has been over there for something like, was it 29 years or something? So for a long time. And he has realised over that time there that the way we do church here and the way we reach people here doesn't work in Thailand. Because the Thai people, so in the area that we were in, are predominantly Buddhist, but in other parts of Thailand, there's also very strong Muslim as well. And so that changes the dynamics of everything. And so they have to, as Josiah was saying, they have to build relationships. So what I want to actually talk about is actually some of the stories that were told to me that really spoke my heart. So the last church that we went to was a church where the pastor believes that God's calling over his life, that he wants to start 100 churches. So what he does is he builds a church to 100 people, then he splits the church so that he's got a good core starting the next church. They start a next church. And when then either church builds up to 100, then they split again. He's up to, is it 88 churches? Yeah. And his wife told me this story. Actually, there's two stories, but his wife was telling me the story of her dad. And her dad was actually a Buddhist monk. And when missionaries came to their village, he was the one that did not want them there. And he did not agree with them at all. And then what happened was he one day got really, really sick and could not walk. And he went to, so over in Thailand, that they use witch doctors and things like that. So he tried everything to be healed and nothing worked. And so he said to God, God, if you are real, heal me. And in the middle of the night, he woke up with a light shining in his room. He somehow got over to the window, and there he had an encounter with God where he became a Christian. And because he was such an influential person as a Buddhist monk, he brought his whole village to Christ. And then this is his daughter is now, her and her husband are building these 100 churches. They did school ministries as one of the things that they did. And one school, they converted the principal. But not only this was a Buddhist school. They converted the principal, and then the principal was like, well, I don't want to be a principal of a Buddhist school, so what am I going to do? So she went to all the parents and asked them, would they mind if the school became a Christian school? And the parents said, yes, that would be excellent, because Christians treat people better than what the Buddhist school, they treat the students better. So they just changed the school to a Christian school. And to see the heart of these people, we went up in the village, and because Eric has such a rapport, Pastor Eric has such a rapport with these people, we were literally walking through the village and having people stop us saying, can you pray for my sick child? Can you, next time you're here, can you help with my eyesight because I need new glasses? Even one of my most special memories was we prayed for this lady who was having bleeding women's issues. Doesn't it sound like a story from the Bible? And she was feeling like that I'm not good enough for God. And we got to pray with her. And then we had this moment of where she couldn't speak English, but her and I had this embrace of God's love hug, and both of us were crying because of the power of God. And all throughout it, even though you have this, our way of life is different, it looks different, we sound different and everything else, our God is the same God here as in Thailand. And to be a part of that is an incredible experience and what God's doing. But what I want to really encourage you guys, when you have opportunities to give to missionaries, I really want to encourage you to give. Because it says in the Bible to go into all the world and preach the good news. And not all of us can physically do that, but one way we can is to supporting our missionaries that actually are on the ground living that every single day. Pastor Eric has a church has missionary stuff in, we weren't in the dangerous part of Thailand, but there is a more dangerous part of Thailand. And that's where the human trafficking has. They have people helping in that area, bringing women out of human trafficking and things like that. But so in that area, it's actually dangerous. So when he goes in there, he's actually like, there is the chance that he may not make it out. That's what the missionaries are actually doing. They're going into dangerous areas to bring the good news of God to those that don't know Jesus. In Australia, we grow up with things like Christmas and Easter. It's a part of our culture. So even the non-Christians still know about God. In some of these countries, they know nothing about God because it's not in their culture. They're not brought up with the God background that we are. And yet God is moving in an amazing, powerful way. They are using, like the government is even having them come in and teach students because they like they like the God culture and they want to teach their students that. It is absolutely incredible. But what Josiah was coming before. So we, the money that went to, we did buy them a frog farm, but for them that's actually a delicacy but it's a cheap meal for them so that they actually can. So in the village they only have rice, corn, and chicken and a little bit of pork. Whereby having a frog farm that actually will enable them to, with other villages, trade frogs and things. So we were able to help support them start a frog farm. And the other thing we did, we were able to sow into the missionaries directly, and also the church up in the village. They're wanting to their church is too small. So as that you saw, their church was packed with everyone sitting down. So God has provided them this amazing block of land that overlooks the village. And so they're wanting to build a church on that. And they actually only need about $50,000 to do it. It's incredible. And that will be a big church. So we're able to sow into that. We're able to sow into the missionaries, but we also were able to sow in one of the pastors that we met is really building into their community, and they have people over all the time, and they didn't have a kitchen table, and they really wanted a kitchen table. So we were able to actually buy them a kitchen table so that they can serve, and they've already used it, and I should have had that photo up there of being able to reach out to their community and do things. So yes, that's just a little glimpse. If you want to hear more, there's so many stories, but it was an incredible experience.
Yeah. Thailand is different. You've heard a bit about it, but it is just so incredibly different. I'm really quickly just going to run through our itinerary of what we kind of did, just so you have a bit of an idea. So as I said, we landed Friday and we ran youth then. So our team was involved in the games and Josiah preached at youth, and then we did worship with them as well. And the worship for me was really cool. So myself and Christy were involved in the worship. The girls helped sing. Oliver played drums. Another woman who came with us, Kimberly, she played keyboard. So we somehow managed to get a really worshipful team over there, but we got to join with the Thai people and worship with them, and that was just absolutely incredible. They were singing songs in Thai, we were playing them in English, we were singing in English, and they were playing, and it was absolutely amazing. That verse, every tribe and every tongue, kept coming back to me because, we were together. We'd never played. Some of the churches that we went to had never, ever done that before. They'd never had a combined band or anything like that. And it was an incredible time, and it made such an incredible impact. And that was cool for me. That was just a highlight. So, yeah, we did youth Friday night. Saturday, we got up and we ran the kids program the whole morning and half the afternoon as well. We did that. Sunday morning, we did 2 church services. So we did a church service in the morning, and we did a church service in the afternoon as well. And then Monday, we went to... I'm getting there. Shh, you've had your turn. Monday, we went to the schools. Is that Monday? Yes, Monday we went to the schools. Tuesday we went to this village, and as I shared, the village is like 3.5 hours away, so we're packed into this van, 3.5 hours just driving up into the mountains, into the middle of nowhere. And we went up there Monday night. We slept on the most atrocious floor. This is pretty soft compared to the floor that we slept on, and the roosters started at about 3 a.m, and there is 400,000 roosters in that village. But it was great. It was awesome. So we did that Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we finally just had a little bit of a rest day, and that's when we got to see the elephants. But that's when we met up with the other group of people, who was Enoch and Summer Kenway, and they do incredible things over there as well. They're leading ministries. They've planted a church in Chiang Rai, which is a little bit away from Chiang Mai. They planted that church, they grew that church, they've handed that church over. They came back to Australia for a little while, but now they're back over there in Chiang Mai, and they're really trying to figure out how church can look in Thailand that really impacts people. And so the next few days we just spent with Summer and Enoch. They're part of the ACCI program as well. Really awesome couple. They're going to come and visit us next time they're in Australia and share a bit about what they're doing. But they're over there with their family too, and it was really awesome just to hang out with them, just to see what they're doing, meet the people in their sphere. They introduced us to all these pastors, like the one that's planted 80-something different churches. And so we just spent a heap of time with them and with their teams and just learning what they're doing and learning how church looks over there. And then everyone else went home, and Christy and I just hung around. We just felt like we just needed to hang around for a little bit longer. We wanted a little bit of a holiday with our family, but we also wanted to see what would happen. It was a really cool time because in that time we actually met another couple who are the directors of the Global Fellowship Foundation, who oversee missionaries worldwide. And they've just started basing themselves in Thailand because they're close to a lot of their missionaries. And yeah, for 3 or 4 days we were just hanging out with these guys. They just kept inviting us over to their house and just hanging out with them, and it was really cool just to talk church, talk ministry with them. And they're a really great couple. The girls have actually become really good friends with their daughter, who's a little bit younger than them, but they are going to be pen pals as well, so that was awesome. she's 8. There you go. But a couple of highlights for me. So Sunday afternoon after church, Eric came to us and said, there's a woman in the community and she had cancer, and so she was battling with cancer, and she said she needs some help at her house. Are you guys willing to help? So we all just piled into the back of a ute. Over there, you just ride around everywhere in the back of utes. It's great. So we just all piled into the back of a ute and went to her place, and pretty much she just had a pile of gravel that she needed to spread into a path because it's the wet season over there, and she couldn't ride her scooter up to her house. Kept getting bogged and she had to walk, and she couldn't walk wherever else she had cancer and stuff. But we were able to go over there and just do this work and just pray for her and just be involved in the community. But Eric was sharing that the cool thing about that is, in Thailand, all the houses are like really close to each other, right? And so everyone sees what's happening over the fence. And the way Thailand works is everyone's a community. You have your little communities all over the place. Everywhere is a community. And so the community there, for the next week, will be talking about the fact that these white fellas just rocked up and were digging holes and doing random stuff. And they'd be coming over and asking her what's going on. And then she'd be able to share that these are Christians and they were coming to help me because I'm sick. And she'd be able to share why they were doing that. And she'd be able to share with these people. And he said for weeks, the echoes of that will just go on. And so for us, we were just, it's what I do every day on a shoveling things around. So it wasn't anything big for me. But for them, it was incredible because she was able to share that. But what we actually found out later is that she was actually one of the leaders in the community. And she was one of the ones who got them into one of the first schools because of the impact that they were having and the things that they were doing. And so she's really, was until she was sick. She's still involved, but she just can't go as much. She's high up in the actual government in that area of Thailand. And so she's just able to share with them all these things that are happening and why these people are here and what they're doing. And that was really cool. I love that part. Just simple things like that. But Thailand is just such a community little place. It's not, we would call our community Narakot, right? And so there's 8,000 people in our community. In Thailand, their communities, their city is 30 million people or something like that, but their community is 100 people. And it's just the ones immediately around them, and that is their community. And church in Thailand is so different. The average size church in Thailand is 30 people. And that's considered a decent church. So we have 150 people in this room of a town of 8,000 people. They have a city of 30 million or whatever it is, and their average church is 30. So even if they were to plant 100 churches, it's not heaps of people reached, is it? And so it's really, it's really different over there, and everyone's working through this issue. And as Josiah was sharing, Eric and Mariana Clark, they have figured out that community is the only way to do it, to build relationships, to create the community, and to actually expand their communities as well. They've been over there for 20-odd years, and their church is maybe 40 people. They have different churches scattered around Thailand, but that's just what a church is. The only church that we went to that was really much bigger than that, most of the people were Westerners, and they sort of gathered at that church. But, yeah. Another one that I really love, we did a university outreach where we went to, there's a coffee shop, it's called the Red Panda. We went to this coffee shop, and it's just a coffee shop, but it's across the road from the university. And what these people do, because they're just serving Jesus in their community, they have a coffee shop, but it's a 4-story high coffee shop. Most of the building's just 4 stories high. So on the first story, they have a coffee shop with a slide from the second story. It was pretty cool. Nearly died. Have a coffee shop. The second story, they just have their offices for their staff and stuff, which doesn't seem like much, but they have a large amount of staff for some reason. But as you go up, you learn why. Because in the third story, they have a couple of rooms that they just let missionaries who are coming into the university stay there for free. They also have just this little church. You just walk up there and there's a room with 40 chairs, a stage, and it's just a church. But they hire it out for functions and things like that, and people come and do things from the university. They come over there and do it. But then they just run church services every now and again, and they just have worship there. And then you go up to the 4th story, and they just have this hangout space just designed for uni students. So there's, a couple of game consoles, and there's cornhole games, and there's table tennis tables and stuff like that. But every Friday night, they run a English session. And so kids from the university who want to better their English, they come to this English session and they just come and hang out in this place and they play a few games. And I think you guys played a couple of youth on Friday night. They played the tap, tap, catch. Yeah, you guys played that. Yeah, we played that too. I didn't realise how competitive Josiah was. But if you need some video evidence of Josiah's victory, yeah, he says Christy dragged her out. I say the Thai people shoved him out. It was definitely interesting. He did win. At what cost to Australia's dignity, we will never know. But so they just play games, but then someone just shares a bit about Jesus too. And so they're just this business opposite a university that is just a coffee shop, just doing their thing, and yet they're serving Jesus in their community because their community that's what they can do from where they are. And so they've set their whole building up to just serve Jesus. And it's really cool. It's just a normal business, and yet they're taking what they have in their hand and they're serving Jesus with it. It's awesome. What is it? 11:25. Better. So Thailand was just such an incredible thing. We took so many lessons. There were so many things that we could bring back and share with you, and maybe over the next few weeks we will. But one thing that I just really wanted to share is something that just spoke to me while we were over there. And I can't even remember. Someone brought up something about the Engel scale of evangelism. You guys heard of that? No? Cool. That's all right. I'll preach on it one day then. Pretty much, you look at an average person, any person in your life, and they're on a scale somewhere from -10 to 10, right? And so -10 is they don't believe in Jesus, they don't know Jesus, they don't want to know Jesus, they hate Jesus, everything's right against it, right? 0 is the moment of their conversion, and 10 is like, I don't know, what's more than disciple making, that's like a 4. That's like, what's her name? Mother Teresa, something is a 10, right? Really good, okay? And everyone there is on that scale. So Pastor Tracy's probably like an 8 or 9, right? She's 12. Mother Teresa, man, calm down. Pastor Tracy's like right up there. Most of us, we're sitting around the 4, 5, 6. We're getting there. We're working through our journey, right? But so many people are on this lower end, and we look at missionaries, and isn't it great? Like, I love it when Jono comes and he shares about how thousands of people are converting, and they're taking people from that -1, -2, and they're taking them to a 2, 3 sort of thing. Because those people are sort of, the -1, -2, they've heard about Jesus. They may be open to it. They've maybe come to church once or twice. They're working through that journey, and then they're moving into that next stage. But Thailand is so different. Thailand, most of the people there, they're in a -6, -7, some of them even more than that. And to what missionaries are doing in Thailand at the moment isn't converting the millions. It's bringing them from the -6s, the -7s, up to the -2s, the -3s. They're just moving them slowly along the scale. They're just getting involved, and they're doing things to just show Jesus loves you, to just show, hey, Christians aren't that bad. Because if we can be honest, there have been missionaries in the past that have gone over there and changed people from a -6 to a -7 or a -8 by things that they've done. And yet there are people over in Thailand at the moment and all around the world who are just loving on people, who are just showing them, who are preparing them for the next generation of missionaries to come, who are just opening it up and just preparing this field for harvest. And they're doing an absolutely incredible thing. And that's the challenge for each of us this morning as well, is that in our life, we're all missionaries. Okay, you don't want to go to Thailand, that's fine, you're missing out, but that's okay. But do you know what? In your workplace, and in your neighbourhood, and in your community, there are people living there who are in the -4s, the -5s. They're on this lower end of the scale. And our job with every interaction that we have with them is to actually move them up that one little bit, to actually open them up to a bit more of Christianity, to actually show them that, maybe this God thing isn't so bad after all, because we're all missionaries. The Great Commission was go into all the world. All the world is your backyard. All the world is over the fence. All the world is at school drop-off line. All the world is when you're driving along and someone cuts you off. Every interaction you have with any person you come across in life has the ability to move them up or move them down the scale. And so that's the challenge for every single one of us this morning, is that in each of our life, that we have the opportunity with every encounter to be a missionary right where you are and to do what God has called you to do. And so that's awesome. If you want to know more stories, we are more than happy to share with you. We're actually going to Kingston this afternoon, so we'll have to leave fairly soon after church. But there was so many incredible things, so many encounters, and unfortunately we can't fit it into a half an hour this morning. But God was moving in the most incredible way. And if you want to go back to Thailand, let me know. We'll take you. We'll introduce you to some of the people there. It'll be absolutely incredible for you. It'll change your life. But the challenge for us this morning is to change the life of the people in your sphere, to change the life of those that you come across on the everyday. You know, some of the people you may never meet again, you may never know, but that could be the moment that they went from being anti-Jesus to being maybe open to Jesus. So why don't we pray this morning, church, and then we'll have some coffee. Father, we just thank you for what you're doing, God. We thank you for what you're doing in Naracoorte. We thank you for what you're doing in Thailand, God. We thank you for what you're doing right across this world, God, as your people come together to just worship you and to glorify your name and to lift you up, God. And Father, I thank you so much for the incredible things that happened in Thailand. I thank you for the fruit that is going to go from that, God, and just for the way that it's changed the lives of those who went, God. But Father, may it not just change our lives, but may it change everyone's lives who come into contact with us as well, Father. May they get something of the Spirit that you poured into us while we were in Thailand, God, and may it encourage us all to go out and be a missionary in our own home, God, be a missionary in our own sphere of influence, in our workplace or in our school or wherever it is that we are, God. Father, may we each step out into that calling, and may we, just be drawing people closer to you by just doing community, by just getting alongside them and just reaching out into, beyond the four walls of the church, but reaching out into where the people are, God, and where they are hurting and their situations, God. Father, we just thank you for this time together. We just thank you for, just the incredible thing that you're doing in this church and amongst these people, God. And we just pray that you continue to just move amongst us, God, and just continue to really challenge each one of us in our own walk. And we just thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.